Hodgdon's new FireStar 777 Pellets, William Hovey Smith 2018. I'm the author of Extreme Muzzleloading, and here we try out a new wrinkle in muzzleloading powders. This is Hovey Smith, the backyard sportsman, and we're at the shooting bench today, and we're going to try out Hodgdon's new FireStar 777 Pellets. This is the packaging for the product. Now these pellets are unusual in that the grains, instead of being cylindrical, actually have a hexagonal pattern on them, raised ribs, so you get more surface area in the pellet, and I would assume easier ignition and more complete burn. With these particular pellets, Hodgdon recommends that you use 3 pellets for a 100 grain equivalent charge. Now Hodgdon has previously and still offers 777 pellets. Here, these are 50 grain, and I have shot them, and we're going to shoot them again. We're going to chronograph these older pellets, 2 of them for a 100 grain equivalent charge, with 3 of the new FireStars, and see if we get any increase in velocity. Now Hodgdon asserts that, with a 3 pellet load with the new pellets, you're supposed to get another 50 feet per second velocity. Well, we'll see. We fired a 209 just to clear the bore, and so 1, 2, 3. Now we'll drop 3 of the cute little pellets down the bore. And a power belt bullet. And this happens to be the 223 grain size. Seated. All right, we'll reprime and we're ready to shoot. I'm also taking advantage of this situation to actually sight in this gun, and so we shall see. I've got a target down at 50 yards now. We'll see how we do. Well, that load has a little bit of authority to it. That load went 2.5 inches low and right. So we're taking 10 clicks left and up, and that should put us closer to the bullseye. Well, that moved it in the right direction, but too far. So we're going to take 6 clicks back from both the upward and the lateral correction. We made a minor adjustment now, and we've got our chronograph set up, so we're going to see if we can get a record. 1,538 feet per second. Now that one hit exactly in the center line of the target and 1 inch high just above the bull. Now I've got 100 grains of the older 777 pellets, and we'll see how those do. That felt very soft indeed. (1,085 feet per second). I've had these pellets for a couple of years, and obviously they have deteriorated somewhat. That is one thing that keeping them in these tubes should help avoid. We'll try a 3 pellet load, and I think that may be what it takes to get things up to even reasonable velocities. I'm now shooting a 150 grain load these old boxed pellets. And wow, I didn't expect them to have degraded quite so much. But in Georgia's humid air, they will. Now that felt like a respectable load. And I suspect it would have hit more nearly to the point of aim. 1707. So the old pellets will work. You just have to use more of them. And check your pellets and check your loads. Here is obviously the target. Now what did we do? This was the very first shot. And then I adjusted 10 clicks up and 10 clicks to the left and hit here. I took 6 of those clicks back and I hit here. Then I added a small correction and wound up here. Then I tried the 100 grains of the old style 777 pellets, got a very squibby sounding load, and this is where it hit. So then we added another 50 grains and we brought it down to here. So this is at 1700 feet per second. This is at 1500 feet per second. So that's what this pattern has shown me. Now, if you were going to do this by the book, each one of these would have been a 3-shot group. You would have measured, you would have averaged, and you would have adjusted your sights accordingly. But in the meantime, I would have shot myself out of bullets. So I didn't do that. This is what I usually do when I test out a new bullet, test out a new load, because I don't have that many bullets to work with usually. Now, about 777. That is bad. Those old pellets would have caused me to miss a piece of game. They sure would have. You can increase, as I did, 3 pellets instead of 2 for a 150 grain load instead of a 100 grain load, and that helped. But you're working with a product that's degraded and maybe not uniformly so. Some pellets may be less powerful than others. So consequently, unless you do a lot of shooting, you'll never really find out for sure. The thrust is, if you've got some old 777 pellets that you've had around for years, toss them and buy new. They're good when they're new. And these, in the individual little packets like they have now that are sealed, I think are going to be even better yet so far as increasing their longevity goes. So that is perhaps an even better advantage to the user of using those FireStar pellets than even their burning shape. One of the features of 777 powder is that it is easy to clean up with only water. So we tried that cleaning on the barrel and the small parts here to see how we did. Well, this actually facing the breech of the gun, and so it gets fouled. And indeed, yeah, it cleaned up very, very well. I had to do a little vigorous scrubbing on the face of it to get absolutely all the residue off. It's not a dip and dissolve and it's gone, but it comes off pretty easily. Similarly, with the breech plug, yeah, it cleaned up very, very well. And incidentally, the way to clean these long threads in the barrel is after you have cleaned the barrel and after you have cleaned the plug, go ahead and run it back in the barrel and then twist it out again. It'll go in just under hand pressure, no big problems, but this ensures that all of your threads get clean, and then go ahead and wipe off and re-lubricate this and you're good to go. So the barrel turned out very, very clean indeed. So it's nice and shiny on the inside, and it did well. From this entire shooting episode, the takeaways are these. One, these pellets kept in these containers will last longer than the older pellets in the boxes after the older pellets have been opened and been around for a few years. Yeah, these have longer longevity. So far as their absolute accuracy versus other pellets, I did not do enough shooting to determine that. But they did ignite, they did go out the barrel, they left very little residue, and they did, so far as I know, pretty much as advertised. So, yeah, these are good products, and I wouldn't be fearful of using it. Matter of fact, I'm going to load up this gun, and we're going to try for some hogs with it later in the year, now that our big game season is closed, but we can still shoot hogs for some time to come, all year in fact. So, that's about the tale of the 777. Now the gun, if you're interested, is the Remington Genesis. And here we have a picture of the Remington Genesis. And it has a side flip kind of action, as you will notice. And it is sort of after the Phoenix rifle. That's its closest antecedent. And the reason I'm interested in this gun, that I'm also shooting the Snider, which is also a side loading action, except the Snider happens to be a cartridge conversion of the British Enfield rifle. And for sake of comparison, the 5.77 Snider. That's how it originated, although the model I'm using happens to be a later version, actually designed as a cartridge rifle. So, I think these FireStar pellets are going to be a part of my .50 caliber regime for some time to come. But now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe, goodbye, God bless, and see you next time. Among my prize-winning books that discuss muzzleloading, I have Extreme Muzzleloading. I have a chapter on muzzleloading and backyard deer hunting, and a series of inexpensive e-books including muzzleloaders for hunters, shooting and maintaining your muzzleloader, and hunting big and small game with muzzleloading pistols. Hodgdon's 777 powder seems to be a nice powder for hunters that has the aspect of perhaps keeping better than their standard product. For more information on my books, blogs, and more than 650 videos, you can go to my website, www.hoveysmith.com. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye, and God bless.